what surviving a medieval winter was really like. Long ago, winter arrived quietly, as it always did, with pale mornings and slow evenings. People lived close to the land, and the cold was a familiar guest. Stone walls held the day's warmth for a while, and a small fire breathed softly in the hearth, while cloaks rested on tired shoulders. Outside, frost lay still on fields and paths, while inside, time moved gently, measured by light, shadows, and patient hearts. Food was simple and steady, saved with care and shared without hurry. Bread was broken slowly. Broth warmed quiet hands. Days were shaped by short walks, careful work, and long pauses near the fire. Nights stretched wide and calm, filled with soft sounds of wood settling and wind passing by. In these hours, thoughts wandered easily, and worries learned to rest. Stories were remembered in low voices, and silence was welcomed like a familiar blanket. Through the long season, people trusted small comforts, a shared glance, a steady flame, the promise that dawn would return, quietly, in its own time. Winter was not rushed. It was endured with calm breaths and slow steps. As the night deepened, the world felt smaller and softer. Warmth gathered close. Thoughts became light and unimportant. The cold waited outside, while peace settled within, lingering, unspoken, and still. As winter continued, the days followed a gentle pattern that rarely changed. Morning light crept in softly through small windows. Breath rose slowly in the cool air. Hands moved carefully, performing familiar tasks without haste. There was comfort in repetition. The world beyond the door stayed quiet and pale, while inside, life flowed at its own calm pace, unbothered by time. Clothing was layered with care, each piece worn smooth by years of use. Furs, wool, and linen held warmth close to the body. Movement stayed slow and thoughtful, conserving strength. When the fire was fed, it was done gently, as if not to disturb its rest. Meals were unhurried moments of calm, eaten in silence or with a few soft words that faded naturally into stillness. As darkness arrived early, the night felt long but not heavy. Shadows danced softly on stone and wood. The outside world seemed far away, wrapped in snow and quiet air. Inside, hearts settled into patience. Sleep came in waves, light and deep, guided by the steady rhythm of the cold season. There was no need to rush toward tomorrow. Everything moved as it should. The night held its peace. The fire dimmed. Breathing slowed, and calm remained, steady and quiet, as the winter carried on. As the winter reached its deepest point, the cold felt steady rather than sharp. It was known. It was expected. Each day began and ended with the same quiet understanding. Light appeared briefly, like a gentle visitor, then slipped away without fuss. People listened closely to the world around them. The creak of beams, the hush of snow, the soft pause between moments. Nothing asked for attention. Everything simply was. Inside the home, warmth gathered slowly and stayed close. Sleeping places were arranged with care, layered with straw, wool, and worn cloth. Bodies rested near one another, sharing heat without words. Dreams came softly, shaped by memory and quiet hope. When waking happened, it was unforced and calm. There was time. There was patience. Even hunger moved slowly, answered by simple food and warm drink taken in silence. As the season leaned toward its end, there was no sudden change, only a faint easing. The cold loosened its grip just a little. The air felt lighter in the lungs. The fire still glowed low and kind. Outside, the world remained still, but something gentle stirred beneath it. Inside, minds drifted freely, unburdened and calm. Thoughts thinned and faded. Breathing grew deep and even. The night stretched on, peaceful and wide, holding everything in quiet balance, until rest became effortless and the darkness felt complete. As the long winter slowly loosened, days carried a quiet softness within them. The cold remained, but it felt calmer now, less demanding. Pale light lingered a little longer on the walls. People noticed these changes without speaking of them. They moved as they always had, slowly and gently, letting the season guide their pace. Nothing needed to be forced. The world knew how to unfold on its own. The home stayed peaceful and dim. Fires were kept low, glowing rather than blazing. Hands rested often. Work was done in short, careful moments, followed by long pauses of stillness. The air smelled faintly of smoke and old wood. Outside, snow lay smooth and untouched. Inside, thoughts drifted like soft ash, settling wherever they wished, without weight or meaning. When night arrived, it wrapped everything in calm darkness. Bodies sank into familiar resting places. Breathing became slow and deep. The small sounds of the house blended into a single, gentle rhythm. There was comfort in knowing the hardest cold had already passed. Not gone, but softened. The season no longer pressed so closely. Peace filled the quiet spaces between breaths. Time felt wide and forgiving, and as the night stretched on, the world held steady, warm at its center, allowing rest to deepen naturally, until awareness faded and only quiet remained. As winter settled into its final weeks, the days felt calm and familiar. The cold still touched the air, but it no longer felt endless. Light returned slowly, almost shyly, brushing against walls and floors. People sensed the change without naming it. They moved with the same gentle habits, rising, resting, and waiting. These moments were not counted. They were simply lived, one quiet breath at a time. Inside, the home remained a place of steady comfort. The fire murmured softly, never hurried. Simple meals were taken with care, warming the body from within. Hands lingered near the heat. Eyes rested on nothing in particular. Silence filled the room, not empty, but full and kind. Outside sounds felt distant now, softened by time and patience. The world seemed to be resting too. As night returned, it felt less heavy than before. Darkness arrived gently and stayed without pressure. Sleep came easily, drifting in like a slow tide. Thoughts loosened their hold and slipped away. There was no need to plan or remember. The season had done its work. The cold had taught stillness. The quiet had shaped calm. Breathing slowed, steady and deep. Warmth remained close, even as awareness grew faint. The night stretched out, smooth and unbroken. And in that wide, peaceful space, everything rested together, wrapped in silence, until only softness remained.